let's start from power in the role of power in interpersonal relationship. First is we will discuss something around power. So nowadays, every time, now here, there, and everywhere, we used to hear that person is very powerful, that people is very powerful, that government is very powerful. So then what does it mean by powerful? What does it mean? So there are different kind of uh, power. Yeah, that person is powerful, this person is powerful. It maybe relates to a lot of things. It may be physical power, it may be monetary power, it may be that mind power, it may be your people power, because you have a lot of people in your hand. So the power defines a lot. There is a vast range of definition of power. But when it comes to the organization setting and what the power means, there is a famous sociologist called Max Weber. Okay, he is one of the famous sociologists, which were whom findings, whose thinkings, whose findings, and whose experiments are largely explained in psychological studies also.
So Max Weber defined a German psychologist. Max Weber, a German psychologist, defined power the probability that one actor within a social relationship will be in a position to carry out his own will despite of resistance, despite any resistance. So, if you will try to understand this sentence, power refers to, that psychological power that one people within a social relationship able to carry a position that he wishes to carry without any resistance. That is called power. So let's say, if I would say that the ruling government is very powerful, what I mean to say that? I mean to say that the ruling government do have the capacity in the social setting of India to carry a position which they wish according to the rules and regulation of the constitution, despite of all the resistance that is given to them by the opposition. If I would say that no, the opposition is very powerful, that means the opposition is able to carry a position in the social settings despite of all the resistance created by the ruling government. So similarly, the power of actor A means the power of person A over person B is the amount of resistance on the part of B which can be potentially overcome by A. I mean to say that if I would say that I'm more powerful than you, that means I have the tendency, or I have that amount of psychological strength within me that despite of all your resistance, I would carry my position. That is called power. In other words, power involves one person changing the behavior of other. It is important to note that in most organizational situations, we talk about implied force to comply, which is not necessarily actually force, rather power. That means to say, power involves one person do have that tendency, that strong tendency within him to change the behavior of another person, of or another social setting also. If I would say I'm very powerful in terms of money, that means I'm saying I can buy whatever I want through the use of money. If I would say I have a strong people power, I means I have such people in my hand whom I can use whenever I want. So it is important to note that in most organizational situations, we talk about implied force. Implied force means implied power, which could be applied, which could be used, yeah, which is not necessarily actual force. Not necessarily that would be an actual force of an organization. So the power of organization, the power of employee, the power of manager is something different. So when we are talking about power in organizational context, it could be anyone's power, not necessarily the actual force power, or not necessarily the power of the organization, but basically the power of the team or the power of the humans, those who are working under that. person A has power over person B if person B believes that person A in fact force person B to comply. So a person, or like, let's say a person named A has power over person B if person B believes that person A can do that. So power and belief go hand by hand. If I don't believe that you don't have any power, that doesn't mean you don't have power. You have that power with you. But what I believe may influence my behavior. So if I believe that my manager don't have any power, that doesn't mean that the manager don't have any power. But my belief system will influence my behavior towards that powerful situation. Right? So hope you understand what is power is. Then what are exactly types of power? First types of power is coercive power. So what exactly this power means? This power involves forcing someone to comply with one's wishes. Okay, this power where a person in the organization is example of coercive power. So if a person is forcing you to do certain thing as per his words, then that is known as coercive power. If it involves forcing someone to comply with one's wish. So if I'm forcing you, as someone told me, ma'am, before you ask to write us, please check whether the chat box is enabled or not. That is known as coercive power. I don't know whether the chat box is enabled or not. I assume that the chat box is enabled. And as a result, I just force you people to write as I wish that because it is creating problem when you are raising hands. So that is known as my coercive powers upon you. Clear? Then utilitarian power is power based on the performance reward contingency. For example, a person will comply with a supervisor in order to receive a pay and raise or promotion. Business organization are thought to be essentially utilitarian organization. So coercive power is that power which speaks about like if I'm forcing someone to do in that way which I want is known as coercive power. And to impose you my power to do certain things which I want. Okay, utilitarian power is like reward and recognition, work and recognition process. So utilitarian, the word is saying something. Utility means utilizing the want satisfaction power of any product. Utility means, yeah. So in that case, when I'm saying that utilitarian power means when you are assigned certain tasks and you are advised to do that, and by completing the task, you are getting pay rise or promotion as per your supervisor's suggestion. That is known as utilitarian power. You are going by with the supervisor's rules and regulation and doing your task, and as return, you are expecting something. Normative power rests on the employee's behavior in the organizations, right to govern their behavior. Example here would be religious organization. So normative power rests on members' belief in the organization's govern their behavior. So what I believe and what my rights are, I want that organization should also behave in that way or should facilitate that facility for me as my behavior, as my religious or spiritual thoughts are. That could be known as normative power. Right? Next. Next is basis of power, or you can say types of power. Yeah. First is referent power, second is expert power, third is legitimate power, reward power, and coercive power. First is expert power. Let's see what is exactly expert power is. It is based on person's superior skills and knowledge. Let's say if I said that the person carries an expert power, that means a person is having a superior knowledge or extra knowledge or a good knowledge regarding certain thing. And that knowledge and that skills is referred as expert power. Let's say I'm a psychologist by profession and I have very good knowledge on depression interventions. So that means you can say me that I have an expert power of different depression interventions. So I have good knowledge and very extra careful knowledge and skills to determine depression in people and can treat them equally. So that is known as expert power. So that means I am expert in certain things which people don't have that sort of knowledge. I have. Yeah. So that is known as expert power. The second is referent power. Referent power is the result of person's perceived attractiveness, worthiness, and right to respect from others. So how people perceived you, like whether you are perceived as very attractive, very worthful, very knowledgeable, very charming, very creative, very funny. So that is known as referent power. Means your capacity is to carry yourself good. Your capacity is to look fun. Your capacity is to be creative. So that is called as referent power because people are seeing that this is your quality and quality is always a power to you because you can utilize it to get things done. Yes. So then let's understand legitimate power. What exactly legitimate power is? Legitimate power refers to when power comes from the belief that a person has the formal right to make demands and to expect compliances and obedience from others. So basically, legitimate power can refers to the power that Indian citizens carry for them. So not Indian citizen, every citizen of every country carry with them is known as legitimate power. Means which power for which you can demand and for which you can expect some compliances also if you are not doing the proper task, and also you have to obedience to others. Let's say it is written in our Indian Penal Code that taking your own life is crime. But if you are suffering from mental health issues, that's not a crime. That's an exception. So here, if someone try to end their life and then survive, then he can demand that you cannot punish me as per the rule because the rule says I'm suffering from depression. That's what I did this, and the rule is deviation of this. So here I demand my right. I also abide by certain rules and obedience to the rules also. Like another example is theft is thefting something from someone's house is crime here. So if you did it by mistakenly and someone raised a complaint against you, that means you can demand your individual right that I did it by mistakenly, not intentionally. That's the reason I'm not liable to get punished. So this is known as legitimate power. Then reward power result from one person's ability to compensate another for compliances. So what exactly reward power is? It known as person's ability to compensate another person's work done. So what I was saying, referent is like, let's say you are working in a team of 7 people or 6 people in the assigned profile, and you find that a person who is working as an assistant manager is very creative. That's the referent power for him because you referring him as creative. How you got to know he is creative? Because he always think out of the box. So this is called referent power. And in the corporate world, we usually find people who said, "Arey yaar, ye bahut logical सोच पा है." He's very logical thinker. He's very analytical thinker, and he is a smart worker. He's a hard worker. So these are referent powers. You are referring someone's capabilities. Yeah, legitimate power are those powers where you belonging to a particular location or a particular organization or particular look country, you have the power for that, or you have that right for that compliances. Let's say, being an Indian citizen, I have the right to carry a passport. So I can demand a passport if I have proper document which is required to carry a passport or to draw a passport. Or even I can expect some compliances that if I miss my passport, I can reissue it. by showing the FIR. And obedience is that I have to carry my passport whenever I am going outside of India. That's the rule of passport system. That is my legitimate power, being an Indian citizen. So, coercive power comes from the belief that a person can punish others for non-compliances. So, we believe that police do have the power to catch us if some illegal work is done by us. Yeah. So that is known as coercive power. The police do have coercive power. Means we are believing that a person or a policeman do have the power to arrest us if we are doing any illegal task. So this is the consequences of power. So if you do have export power and referent power, the consequences of power would be you will be more committed, or commitment would derive from export power or referent power. But if legitimate and reward power is there, then it will derive the compliances. If coercive power is there with someone, resistance would be there with someone. If police can arrest them, we have the power to resist it, and we don't want to go for that. That is resistance. Okay. So yeah, if student is not doing anything, then teacher will punish. That is known as coercive power. Okay, so when you are expert in certain tasks, or you have referent power, like you have attractiveness in your personality, or you are know how to carry yourself, then it may bring that commitment. Maybe people feel committed towards you, because you have that expertise power, because this power can help people to fulfill their goal. Yeah, then legitimate power or reward power create compliances, because here you are exerting certain roles and responsibility. In addition, but if that not reflecting, the reward system is not reflecting the same, then there may be a compliance. So in coercive power, the power usually, this coercive power usually create impact on the rights of people. So resistance would be very inevitable. Great. Next is organizational politics. So what is organizational politics is? Organization politics is a behind the scene process to gain and showcase the, most of the time people used to ask me organization politics in my organization. But I fail to understand, but they fail to let me know what is organization politics. Do organization politics means manipulation? Do organization politics means bad communication? Do organization policy means organization politics means improper communication? What exactly organization politics means? What do you mean by organizational politics? What does it mean to organization politics? Most of the time, people combine organizational politics with their productivity. Ma'am, because I had a fight with my colleague, so he is creating politics. So he's playing games with me, not helping me to do certain tasks. He's playing against me, and he's playing politics for me. No, he's not playing any politics for you. He's not showcasing any power and any perceived power or gain behind you. He's showing it in front of you that I don't want to work with you. That is not politics. That is resistance. If someone is showing their disinterest, their disapproval, and saying that I don't want to work with you, I don't want to be a part of your team, I don't want to be the way you want me, that is not politics, to be very clear with you. That is something known as resistance. That is something known as communication. Even for me, it is clear communication. Someone is saying me that I don't interested in you. I don't want to work with you. So for me, it is clear communication and resistance. This is not politics. Organizational politics means working behind you and trying to manipulate things in such a way that the perceived power the people carry could be utilized to create problem in your development and growth, in your professional development growth. It is not even related to your personal growth. And this is known as organizational politics. So it basically refers to the influencing tactics. So what exactly organization politics do? When I'm saying that my colleague is doing organizational politics for me, that means he's trying to influence. He's doing such practice or creating such environment or creating such situation or creating or undertaking such activities that is actually trying to influence someone who can create problem for me or who can hinder my personal or professional growth. Great. So organization politics is creating tactics and activities that undertake to retain personal control in the workplace. So understand the things that organizational politics is always a personal thing, not a professional behavior, not at all a professional behavior. Okay. In most cases, it is seen that employees use organizational politics as a tool to misuse their power. Great. So it's basically a tool in the hand of employee to misuse their power, gain extreme popularity, or tarnish the image of someone else in their company. An essential fact about work politics is that it generally leads to negativity, loss of productivity in the work. Organization politics is, in most cases, is projected as a bad thing, but it is not always true, as I was saying. Working in an organization is not easy, as it needs the skill to handle the shifting power base and conflicting agenda of people. Everyone who are working there. So reasons of organization politics. Few people don't want to work hard. They want to, they don't want to work hard. They don't want to perform their task and responsibility. They just want to gain without doing anything. There are people like this in organization. That's the reason they know that they don't have that capacity to do and they don't have that intention to perform their work. So they knew that one day will come, they will be retrenched. So just to keep themselves safe, they used to go for organization politics. Not willing to accept changes. They don't want to go out of their comfortable zone. They don't want to accept the changes that is coming into their life in organizational setting. That's the reason they show manipulative behaviors. Personal relationship. I have a personal relationship people in my organization, and I want that people to grow than to the person who is doing great in a particular job. So in that case, I will try to manipulate it. I will try to show that my relations or the person with whom I have a relationship or my kinship relationship I have, the person is more better, and the person who is doing is just creating fuzz. So in that case, also people do organization politics. Lack of clarity. Some organizations are not good at communication. So if you don't have proper communication, you don't know what organization is up to, you don't know what are your responsibility and roles and responsibility are, what your manager is trying to convey you. In that case, also people do organization politics. Some people are, by nature they are manipulated. By nature they don't want to trust. By nature they love to go for blame games. So in that case also people used to do politics because by nature they are like that. They love to gossip. They love to create unethical situations or hypothetical situation about people and gossip about and chatted about other people's personal life and their things. And this sort of people also create politics just because of their nature. So last is struggle of power. So if I I have given a power to exert some responsibility, and I don't know how to disburse that power, then I'll be struggling for power. And few people are also there who love to be called as or be viewed as powerful. So they struggle to get power for everything, to control everything. That's the reason also they used to create problem or they used to go for politics. Yeah. The next is effect of organizational politics. It will lower the productivity of employees because those who are not involved in it and creating those who are creating problem and the problem is long created by others, those who are not involved in it, the productivity of people will goes down and the environment would be very negative because there is the only thing where people are talking about people. People are not talking about progress. People are not talking about growth. People are not talking about how to move further and how to gain knowledge, how to use skills. People are only talking about others They are not talking about ideas, they are talking about people. They are keep on saying that this is bad, that is bad, this is not good, this is not good. What is good is not being highlighted. So that's the reason negative work environment will be very prevalent. Lower level of concentration. When you know that there is a high level of politics in the organization, you keep on thinking that the people are doing any politics against me. Do my manager will be get influence of that? Do my job will be secure or not? This sort of overthinking will comes up and it will lead you to the lack of concentration. Increased occupational stress. When you are losing, when there is low productivity, when the work is very negative, when the concentration is not there, you will be stressed, obviously. Then it demotivates you because your personal goals or the goal for which you are working is not getting fulfilled. Then attrition rate would be very high. People will start leaving organization. Yeah. The next is there is organization politics is inevitable because some individual have more power in the organization than others. They often indulge in organization politics. It's obvious because few people are more powerful because of their position. You cannot deny it. Some people are politically savvy and encourage organizational politics so that they can have their way. Some people love to control. That's the reason they create organization politics. It's completely depend upon their characteristics and personalities. Every employee wants to step on the ladder of success, but as the path is narrow, everyone cannot travel together. People often take help of organization politics to remove others from their path so they can go smoothly and gain their heart's desire. Look, everyone can be promoted to manager. There is a bell curve. Few people can only be promoted. So that's the reason what organization politics helps people to clear their path. Okay, 4 people are there. Let me create such environment here. 3 people will not be considered, then I will be the one who can go for. People often have compete for limited resources and this conflict make organization politics inevitable. Even sometimes organization policy and processes create organization politics because organization processes says that everyone cannot be promoted or everyone cannot be get extreme rating. So if your team is having 10 people, 2 people can only get extreme rating. As a result, the 8 people will create politics because they are also working the same. They are giving their best also. The reason few people do have like everyone is doing their task, everyone is performing their task, everyone is want promotion, everyone is want progression. But the organizational appraisal policy says that if you have this sort of employee, 10 employee, then 2% of employee can only be promoted every year. So in that case, this organization policy usually creates organization politics because every people want progression and promotion because they want higher salary, higher pay, good standard of living. In that way, they may create first for others so that rest of the people cannot be promoted and I will be promoted and I will be getting a fee hike. Great. So why ways to reduce organizational politics? Tasks should be delegated on the. So see, I would say this is book is knowledge. This is very difficult to manage organization politics. But these are some of the ways which can create some differences. Organizations should emphasize transparency, but every time transparency cannot be emphasized. Promote teamwork to strengthen the bond so that people hesitate to indulge in office politics. Effective communication, encourage positive encouraging a positive mind frame in the workplace is one of the best way to deal organizational politics. So these days, that's the reason people and organizations are creating 2 things. First is mindful workplace and workplace spirituality. These are the new concept which was introducing by organizations to reduce the organization politics nowadays, just to maintain the good communication and positive mind frame of people. Maintain the core value you have. The core value means like you have a core value. My core value is I can keep myself silent for hours. I can keep listening to you for hours without uttering a single word. That's my core value. I can be silent for hours and hours. without asking you a question, without interrupting, without putting any chaos, any problem for anyone. So maintain your core value. You must be having a core value. Like you may be an active listener, you may be a good presenter, you may be having good analytical skills. So try to maintain that core value within you. Most of the time, you, me, and everyone influenced by people and try to convert our inability to ability rather than focusing our ability. We most of the time try to bring changes in our ability and try to convert it into ability, and that's the reason we most of the time infuse ourselves in politics. So maintain the core value. Try to understand organizational politics. So why this organization, these dimensions of organization politics are different to organization. Every organization don't have the same dimensions of politics. So try to understand what are the organization politics. Is it because everyone is power, whether the organization is having a lot of power source or not. Develop your people skills. Some people are very good at dealing with people. So develop that people skills, how to talk, how to behave, how to listen, how to explain, how to say no. Yeah, unwritten rules. Create unwritten rules for you. I will be going to take my lunch or will my colleagues or will go for a break once I've completed my task. In between, even if someone is asking me, even if it's a good friend of mine, I will not go. That is something unwritten rules you write for yourself. Be proactive. Remember that remaining proactive is very important in organization. What I told, told you earlier, keep your eye and ear open and your mouth half shut. So be protective also. Sometimes you have to stand for yourself. So expression matters always to maintain organization politics. You choose to react or respond, that makes the difference. That is what which we call as be prepared.